was a dark, rainy night in Bulgaria. Andrei had been driving for hours now, on his way to Serbia to avoid the war. But in this weather, driving had become nearly impossible. As Andrei reached by the peak of the road leading down into a valley, he stopped hearing the sound of water gushing forth. There wasn't a river here. Andrei got down in the rain and walked ahead. Staring at the heavy currents, the road had become flooded. How am I going to cross over? As he paced along the road, looking around, he could barely make out much in the darkness. The skies were covered in dense clouds tonight. But all of a sudden, he heard a rustle in the trees beside him. Almost out of nowhere, a young woman ran out of the forest. She was panting, exhausted, as she barely managed to say, "Please, help me," before she fainted. Shocked, Andrei went to help her. When he noticed two other men arrive, they too were out of breath. Had they been chasing her? Just then, another man reached them and came near the young woman, looking at Andrei. "I'm Dr. Alexei Dragunov. She's my wife. She has a mental condition." Andrei got up, not knowing what to say, staring at these men. But the man asked him, "Were you traveling at this time of the night?" "Yes, I was on my way to Serbia. You know how the situation is here." "Yes, the war. But you won't be able to make it any further in these conditions, unless the water recedes again. The road has been blocked off in the high tide." "These are my brothers. Our home is nearby. Please, be our guest." "Thank you so much. Allow me to just bring my things. If you park your car a bit further uphill, it'll be safer from the flood." "Sure." Andrei drove his car ahead and parked it to the side before he grabbed his keys, a book, and placed them in his bag. And on his way out, he took his pocket knife from the compartment. Locking the car, he followed the men into the forest. In the heavy rain, at this hour of the night, the walk was no easy task. About 30 minutes in, they soon reached a castle. Andrei was quite impressed. These people seemed to be royals. Walking into the castle entrance, Andrei couldn't make out much in the dim light of the torches that hung on the walls. Oddly, in this lavish castle, there was no electricity. He noticed two other women take the man's wife away as Alexei took one of the torches and ushered Andrei into another hall. "The electricity has been out since the start of the storm. We've been managing with these torches and lanterns. This way, please." Walking down the stone-cold hallways, they soon reached a room where Alexei lit fire to one of the torches. "This is our guest room." Almost as soon as Andrei stepped in, he turned to see Alexei had left. Andrei closed the door and lay down on the bed exhausted. His stomach rumbled in hunger. He had been driving for the past 18 hours, but perhaps there would be no arrangements tonight. Andre woke up some hours later, checking the time on his watch. To his surprise, it was 11. He drew the curtains, staring out into the gloomy skies. The rain had stopped. Stepping out, he peered down the halls to find them pin-drop silent. Where is everyone? The rooms were all empty. As Andre passed by the window facing the vast forests ahead, he noticed a tower along the west side of the castle and thought he'd take a walk. The grounds were wet and slippery, and the clouds in the skies foreshadowed the rain would pour soon. As Andre reached the tower, he could see a lake just a walk ahead. The area was beautiful. As he stared into the greenery, however, he was startled by a voice. "Господин Andre, you're up." Andre looked at Alexei. "Yes, the rain has stopped. I was hoping to get going soon." "Unfortunately, that won't be possible. The roads are still blocked off, and because of the war, all of the towns and villages nearby are practically abandoned. You won't find much help there either. But you needn't worry. It's just a matter of a day or two." "How is your wife?" "She's doing well, but she's quite weary after last night. All of us, actually. You probably haven't eaten anything. You see, ever since the markets have closed, making arrangements for food have become difficult. We've been rationing our supplies and trying to make it work." Andre and Alexei began walking back to the castle as they spoke. This is our hereditary home, and with the war going on, Ivanka and I decided to take shelter here. I understand it has been difficult for everyone in these situations. As they spoke, Andre noticed Boris and Victor arrive carrying a deer over their shoulders. "Wonderful. Seems like tonight we'll be eating well." "Господин Andre, the sun sets here around 5. It'll be dark soon. Please do join us for dinner at 7. "Sure, thank you." A while into enjoying the breeze outside, Andre returned to the castle, waiting rather desperately for dinner. He freshened up and, right on time, reached the grand hall where he found the table spread with roasted deer, bread, and grape juice. "Looks like we have a guest." "Господин Andre, please join us. This is my father, Dmitry Dragunov, and my sister-in-laws, Tanya and Yelena. Hello." As Andre sat down, he watched as Alexei escorted his wife to the table. However, throughout dinner, Ivanka didn't say a word, nor raise her eyes above her plate. After dinner, Andre returned to his room. But so early on in the night, there was no way he could fall asleep. As Andre sat on the bed trying to relax, he suddenly heard a knock on his door. He quickly went to open it to find it was Ivanka. In her hands, a tray with a kettle of tea and some biscuits. "May I come in?" "Sure. How are you feeling today?" Ivanka placed the tray on the bedside table and politely smiled at him. "Better. The nights are long over here. You might get hungry, so I thought I'd bring you some snacks. You know the conditions we've been going through with this war waging on, scarcity of food, staying locked up. Everyone's going a little mad." Andre nodded. "Yes, I know what you mean. My husband and I used to live in the city, but ever since this war began, we had to come here. Now it feels like I've been imprisoned. Sometimes I end up sleepwalking. I see. I should get going. Good night. With that, the young woman left. Andre closed the door and went back to bed, taking out the book he grabbed from the car. A while into reading, he dozed off. By the time he woke up, it was almost 2 a.m. Feeling a bit drowsy, Andre thought to have some tea. But when he raised the kettle, he suddenly noticed a piece of paper. What's this? Господин, do not sleep at night in this castle. Stay aware and stay within your room. Lock the door and windows. But right before dawn, meet me by the tower. Do not try to leave by the front entrance. You'll find it locked. If you walk 2 rooms down to the left, there will be a window you can easily open. I'll be waiting for you. Seeing the note, Andre was shocked and curious. What was this all about? Why would she secretly want to meet him? And why was she warning him to lock the room? If he had slept a while longer, he would have missed out on this. Andre pondered about the note, staring at his watch every few minutes. And just at the peak of dawn, he slowly walked down the quiet hall. As Ivanka had mentioned, there was a window. With a little help from his pocket knife, he opened it and climbed out onto the courtyard. Was Ivanka truly waiting for him by the tower? Walking towards the lake, Andre soon spotted someone. It was her. Thank goodness. What is going on? What really happened that night? When I went to your room, my husband had been listening to everything I was saying. I wasn't able to tell you anything. What is it? These people, they're not what they seem. They aren't human. What? I first met my husband in the city. He is a medical doctor. And upon noticing me, he grew fond of me and proposed me marriage. And I accepted. But it was after our marriage, I noticed some strange things in Alexei. Even though he's a calm and quiet gentleman, sometimes he would suddenly become enraged. On one instance, he had nearly taken the life of a farrier who accidentally hurt his horse. What do you think you're doing? I'm sorry, Господин, forgive me. Alexei was also extraordinarily strong, like no man I had seen before. I'd always been fond of playing the piano, and after we moved into our new home, Alexei had gifted me one. That day, 5 men weren't able to carry it, but Alexei alone carried it upstairs. Alexei also had very strong senses. There was nothing that could pass his notice. But what I found stranger than all this was his trips back home. Every month for 3 days, Alexei would return here to meet his family, but he would never bring me here. And whenever I'd ask about his family, he wouldn't tell me anything. I thought perhaps he didn't have a good relationship with them. But when the war broke out, he told me we didn't have a choice but to move here, where we would be safe. I agreed and came with him. And at first, this castle seemed like heaven. It was beautiful. He introduced me to the rest of his family, and though they welcomed me, I can understand they didn't really like me. She'll never fit into this family. What was Alexei thinking marrying her? I know, he shouldn't have brought her here like this. I often ended up spending time all by myself. Not too far from here, there's a lake. It was one day, Alexei and I had come out to take a walk and I wished to take a swim. Wow, the water is beautiful. Come on, Alexei, let's take a swim. No, I don't swim. What is it? Is the mighty Alexei afraid of the water? You can't swim? Yes, I can't. Don't worry, I can teach you. You never told me you could swim so well. Back home, I grew up by the river. The days at the castle were going by, one way or the other. But it was one night, Alexei asked me something very strange. Here's your drink. Thank you. Ivanka, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? You know, my mother passed away when my brothers and I were young. Since her demise, our father has been performing a ritual, prayers for my mother, for 3 special nights every month, and only blood family members are allowed to be there. So, for the next 3 nights, please don't come out of your room. All right. That night, I happened to fall asleep. But come the next 2 months, I strangely slept through those 3 nights again. At first I thought it was a coincidence, but then I started to get suspicious. I soon realized Alexei had been mixing some in the drink he gave me on those nights, so I wouldn't leave the room. So the next month, around that time, I only pretended to have my drink and went to sleep. It was as soon as Alexei left. I followed after him. He went into the grand hall and closed the door behind him. But when I looked through the crack, I could see he wasn't the only one. Tanya and Yelena? I thought he said only blood family members were allowed. He lied to me? He lied to me? But it was then I saw something that struck fear in my heart. Boris and Victor arrived bringing with them some women from the village. Their mouths and hands were tied. I watched in horror as my father-in-law stood at the podium, centering the hall. Sons and daughter-in-laws all surrounded him in a circle, as he began chanting something. What are they doing? Are they some sort of cult? But then,
click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.